Hello and welcome back to another video lecture. In this video lecture, I am going to explain the Italian pronouns, I pronomi. I would like to start by making a remark. The Italian language, I'm not going to lie to you, okay? The Italian language is complicated. And one of the reasons why it is so complicated is because of the pronouns. There are so many, as you will see in this and the next lecture, there are so many pronouns, and the way they are used can be complicated. So I want you to bear with me, be patient, and you are going to learn the language and enjoy speaking it. Okay? So, pronomi personali. These are personal pronouns. Just like in English we have pronouns. Italian personal pronouns can be either emphatic, what we call in Italian tonici, or non-emphatic, atoni. That means that they can be, in other words, strong or weak. Now, let me give you an example of what I mean. If I want to say that I gave the pencil to him, I gave this pencil to him, to Marco, or to John, I want to emphasize it by constructing the sentence this way. Ho dato la matita a lui. You see, the emphasis is on lui, which means to him, whichever that might be. I can say Marco or Filippo, Filiberto. Another way of constructing the sentence is a non-emphatic way, by saying, for example, I gave him the pencil. You see, you hear the difference? I gave the pencil to him, or I gave him the pencil. So in this case, the non-emphatic uses a different pronoun, which is gli. Gli ho dato la matita. Okay? Now, these types of pronouns can be further divided into three categories. The subject pronouns, direct object, okay? Direct object and indirect object. I assume that you have, at this point, if you're taking this lecture, you have, let's say, assimilated, understood the rudiments of English grammar. So I'm confident that you know what a direct object is, in fact, what an object is. But if you don't know, pause this video, look it up, take a quick 2-minute lecture on direct and indirect objects, and then you can come back. Okay, so let's start with pronomi soggetto. The pronomi soggetto, or subject pronouns, are the pronouns that the most typical pronouns, Italian pronouns that you know, and these are the equivalent of the English pronouns I, you, he, she, you, it, they, we, they, etc. By the way, In the English language, you know that the pronoun I is always, as a rule, capitalized. Not in Italian. In Italian, you never capitalize the pronoun I, which is in Italian io. This one right here, singolare, prima persona, io. Now, of course, you're watching this video. You might be wondering, well, wait a minute. Then why did you capitalize it if you never capitalize it? Well, I capitalize it to keep it all consistent, to keep it neat. Okay, and also you capitalize it if you begin a sentence with the word io. Otherwise, if it's in the middle of the sentence, you do not capitalize it. Okay, so another point that I wanted to make, because I have consulted several textbooks, Italian textbook, grammar textbooks, and I noticed that lately, I don't know when people started doing this, but lately, even in grammar books, the pronouns are slightly different. Let me explain to you what I mean. Io is the first person singular, prima persona singolare. It's io. Tu, which is the equivalent to you, okay, singular, second person. Now, here's where I noticed the difference. When I was growing up in Italy, I was taught that the third person, the singular third person, is the equivalent to the English he, is the pronoun egli. Now, nowadays, if you're taking Italian, I've seen this online on YouTube videos, or even, as I said before, textbooks, they tend to use the, instead of egli, they tend to use lui. I think it's confusing because lui is a different kind of pronoun, but nowadays everything is more informal. Everything, just everything. Society is moving in a very informal direction. You might have noticed this in all areas, and so it has changed. People nowadays, Italians, only in formal writing or speaking formally do they use egli. Normally they use lui. Similar thing applies to the feminine third person, which is ella, and that is nowadays people use lei, but that also is confusing. That's why I personally don't like to use lei for the third person, the feminine third person. Why? Because that confuses people. It's confusing because there is a formal way, a courtesy, sometimes they call it a pronoun, which is lei. So if you're in Italy and you're speaking to a person of authority, if you're speaking to a person who is older than you, that you don't know, well, I explained, by the way, this in my previous lecture. Go check it out. You use the courtesy pronoun lei, and you use lei for masculine or feminine. So if you're speaking to, let's say, an elderly woman, you say, and you want to ask her a question. Let's say you want to ask her, where do you live? You see, in English, we just say the pronoun. We use the pronoun you for everybody. In Italy, you would use lei. So you would say, dove abita lei? And you use lei whether you're speaking to a man or you're speaking to a woman. Okay? Now this, again, this is a courtesy, a formal way of addressing a person. If you're speaking to some guy or girl that has the same age as you would use the pronoun tu. You use tu. So you would say, dove abiti? Where do you live? Tu, dove abiti? Okay? So, io, tu, egli, ella. Lei is for formal. Okay? And here's the other difference. When I was growing up, I learned it this way. Esso and essa. Now, esso and essa is the third person. And it's used, esso is used for a masculine. It's the equivalent to our English it. Okay, so it's used for objects. It's the pronoun for objects. Esso, if the object is masculine. Like, for example, esso, referring to the table, il tavolo, is masculine, and it's an object. And essa, if you are referring to an object that is feminine. For example, la barca, the boat. Okay? La pasta, pasta. Okay. So, io, tu, egli, ella, lei for formal, esso, essa. Now, let's see the first person in the plural is noi. Noi is the equivalent to we. Voi is the equivalent to our English you, right? Plural you. And essi is the equivalent to they. Now, once again, esso and essa is for objects. Noi, voi. And then the other difference is essi. I learned this way, that the third person plural is essi. But, as I said before, with regard to egli ed ella, essi is not used very frequently nowadays. It's mostly used for formal writing and speaking. Normally, people would use, and if you look at a textbook, an Italian grammar textbook, they would very likely, I'm sure they will say that this pronoun is loro. Okay? Loro. I think it's wrong because it's confusing, because as you will see, loro is a different kind of pronoun, but what can you do? I can't do anything. I cannot change it. People like the informal way and they use loro. But the rule is essi. Okay? Okay, now, pronomi, complemento, oggetto, diretti. Okay, so these are direct object pronouns. And these can be emphatic, as I said before, tonici, or non-emphatic, atoni. So weak or strong, depending on the emphasis that you desire on when you utter a sentence, or write a sentence. Now, these direct object pronouns answer the question chi or che cosa, who or what. That's what they answer. And they are mostly generally used in the non-emphatic way, unless there's a reason why you are in Italian, you want to emphasize a specific person, right, that is concerned, the person that is involved in the sentence. Okay, so let's start with the direct, the ones that have an emphasis, okay? And these are me, as you can see, and this more or less approximately translates to the English me. Te, which is the emphatic direct pronoun for you. Then there's lui, lei. Now, notice what I said a few seconds ago. You remember when I was explaining here, io, tu, egli, ella? That's why, okay? That's why, because pronomi complemento oggetto, okay? The direct object pronouns are in the third person, masculine and feminine are lui and lei. That's why I don't like that the pronomi soggetto, the subject pronouns, I don't like when textbooks listed as io, tu, lui, lei. It's wrong for this reason. It's wrong and it's confusing because the third person is lui and lei, okay? And the plural are noi, voi, loro. You remember what I said about the subject pronoun, the plural for the third person? That nowadays in textbooks you would see listed as loro, but the way I learned it, the old school way, is essi. And again, it's confusing and it's wrong. It's confusing because the direct object pronoun for the third person is loro. Okay? It's loro. Let me give you some examples. These, remember, they are emphatic. Okay? They're tonici. They're emphatic. They emphasize the person, the pronoun. For example, if I want to say, are they looking for me? I would say, cercano me. Cercano me? Punto di domanda. Or, Marco vuole sfidare te. You see that I'm sorry, I'm exaggerating, right? But I'm exaggerating to show the emphasis. Marco vuole sfidare te. Oh, this is a typo. This says Giorgio. Okay, sorry. Marco doesn't translate into Giorgio in English. So anyway, Marco or Giorgio wants to challenge you. So the emphasis is on the pronoun you. Okay. Another example. Sono venuto a trovare lei. Okay. I came to see her. Okay. Next, the non-emphatic. Now, the non-emphatic pronouns are, these are the direct object pronouns, are mi, ti, lo, la, This is formal. Ci, vi, li, and le. Let me give you a few examples. Notice that they are non-emphatic, so that means that the pronoun is not at the end of the sentence. Yeah, well, the translation into English might be at the end of the sentence, but not in Italian. It's not emphatic. Mi dimentica sempre. He always forgets me, about me. Okay? So, mi dimentica sempre. Now, if I wanted, suppose that you asked me, what if you want to turn this construction into an emphatic style? Then I would have to use a different pronouns. I would have to say, dimentica sempre me. Okay? I would have to use the emphatic. Remember? Me. That's what happens when you put it at the end of the sentence. Like, cercano me. See, so if I wanted to to turn this sentence into an emphatic one, I would say, dimentica sempre me. Or I could say, lui or lei dimentica sempre me. Formally, I would have to say, egli or ella or essi dimenticano sempre me. But this is non-emphatic, so that's why the pronoun is at the beginning of the sentence. Okay? Another example, ti ascolto. I listen to you. Lo chiamo subito. I call him right away. Vi porto il conto. I'll bring you plural, you guys, the check. Okay? Ci vediamo domani. See you later. See you tomorrow. Now, ci vediamo, ci means you and I, or singular or plural, if we're talking about different people. Let's say it's a group. If I'm addressing a group of people, I'm going to tell them, I'm going to say, ci vediamo domani, ragazzi. Or I can say it to one person. Hey, Paolo, ci vediamo domani. Okay? Alrighty. Now, the next is the pronomi complemento oggetto indiretti. These are indirect. Okay? The direct, I explained the direct. Now I'm going to explain and show you the indirect object pronouns. The indirect object pronouns can also be, like the previous ones, emphatic and non-emphatic. Now these, however, answer different questions. They answer the questions a chi or a che cosa, which is equivalent to, translates into to whom or to what. Okay? And these are a me, a te. Notice that these are preceded by the letter a, the preposition a. A me, a te, a lui, a lei, a lei. This is formal. And the plurals are a noi, a voi, a loro. Okay? Some examples. Hanno spedito questa lettera a me. They sent this letter to whom? To me. A me. Maria pensa solo a te. So Maria thinks only about whom? About you. Te. Okay? A te. So Maria is thinking about you. Only about you. And again, as you can see, these are emphatic because they are constructed in such a way as to emphasize the object. Okay, pronoun a te. Okay, ho dato I soldi a lui. I gave the money to him. The way that I construct, for example, this sentence here in a non-emphatic way would have to be by changing the pronoun. So I would have to say, instead of ho dato I soldi a lui, I would have to say gli ho dato I soldi. Okay? Gli ho dato I soldi. Mi sono presentato a loro. I introduced myself to them. Okay? Next, pronomi indiretti atoni. So these are non-emphatic. Okay? You see, in this case, these pronouns are mi, ti, gli, le for formal, ci, vi, loro, gli. And as you can see, in the third person, we have gli. In the previous example, remember, we had a lui. Remember how I transformed this sentence, ho dato I soldi a lui. This is the emphatic indirect pronoun, a lui. Ho dato I soldi a lui. In the non-emphatic, I would say gli ho dato I soldi. Okay? That's the non-emphatic. Mi, ti, gli, le, ci, vi, loro, gli. Some examples. Mi sembra strano. It looks strange to me. Suppose that I wanted to turn this non-emphatic version, non-emphatic form, into the emphatic form. Instead of saying mi sembra strano, I would have to say sembra strano a me. See that? A me. What about this? Ti piace? Do you like it? Ti piace? That's a question. Ti piace? Again, if I wanted to emphasize this, I would have to use a te. Piace a te? But it's a weird way of saying. Most people would say ti piace. The next one, gli ho dato il biglietto. You see, this is a non-emphatic. Emphatic would be ho dato il biglietto a lui. See? Ci mangiamo una pizza. We are having a pizza. We are eating a pizza. Or ho detto loro di chiamarci. All right? So these are the non-emphatic versions. And you can pause the video and compare the way I did it. You can go back and forth from one slide to the other and see how you emphasize something. You use the emphatic form and the non-emphatic form. Alrighty. Now, the next one is going to be when you combine pronouns. Okay? Pronomi combinati. These are combined forms of personal pronouns. direct and indirect object pronouns in the non-emphatic form can be combined to create a double object pronoun. Now, the chart is going to show you how to do it. You can combine mi and lo. Why do you combine it? Well, it's going to become obvious as you progress into your learning, because by you combining these pronouns, you don't sometimes you don't want to repeat the same thing. You don't want to repeat the pronoun, and you want to make the sentence more efficient or shorter. And this is very useful, combining the combination of pronouns. Okay, so take a moment to study the chart and see how they are combined. Mi, lo, ti, la, mi, lo, mi, la, mi, li, mi, le, mi, ne, etc. Let me give you a few examples. Okay, so if you want to say mi sono dimenticato il portafoglio, okay, this is what I was speaking of, the efficiency and the way that you can rephrase a sentence in a different way without repeating yourself. So, for example, you can say mi sono dimenticato il portafoglio, which means I forgot my wallet. And you can rephrase this in a non-emphatic way by combining two pronouns. The pronoun for me, for myself, for I, and lo, which refers to it, to the wallet. So, mi sono dimenticato il portafoglio can become me lo sono dimenticato. And lo refers to it, to the wallet, the portafoglio. Or let's say that you want to say ti sei ricordata di quella canzone? Did you remember that song? You can rephrase it by saying te la sei ricordata, which literally means tu remembered that song. The third example, gli dico sempre a Mauro. Okay? Now here you can combine, and sometimes, as you can see in the case of ye and lo, you literally fuse the two pronouns, and it becomes one word. Glielo dico sempre. Okay? Gli dico sempre a Mauro. So ye, the first part of this word refers to I, to me, and the second, glielo dico sempre. Now, suppose that instead of Mauro, who is a man, masculine, we have Maria, Mary, okay, who's a woman. Instead of saying glielo dico sempre, I would have to use glielo dico sempre. Oh, it's the same. You don't change it. Glielo dico a Maria. Okay, glielo dico a Mauro, glielo dico a Maria. The third example is ci portiamo sempre due con noi. Ce ne portiamo sempre due. Okay, we always bring two to whatever, something, two snacks with us. So, ce ne. You can combine ce ne. Ve le siete mangiate tutte? Did you eat them all? Okay, ve le siete mangiate tutte? Essi si ricordano tutto di tutti loro. See that it's a mouthful, this sentence. So you can combine two pronouns and say se li ricordano tutti. You see how essi si ricordano di tutti loro. Or you can simply say se li ricordano tutti. They remember them all. Okay. And the last one. Si porta il quaderno nella borsa. So, let's say Michael. Filippo o Michael o Giorgio si porta, o Maria si porta il quaderno nella borsa. Or you can combine it, make it shorter, and say se lo porta nella borsa. Because lo refers to quaderno. Okay? Other rules to keep in mind. Pronomi combinati normally precede the verb, as you can see. Se lo porta. That's the verb, and you combine it before. Unless the verb is in the infinitive form, in which case the pronoun is attached to the ending of the verb by dropping the final E of that verb. Let me give you an example. Devi andare a parlare plus gliene equals parlargliene. Okay? Devi andare a parlargliene. Devi andare a parlare con lui about something, right? You have to talk. You have to go talk to him or her about it, about something. So you can combine it and say, devi andare a parlargliene. You need to go talk to her about that. So parlargliene, it encompasses the verb parlare, and the second part of the verb is the combination of ye and ne, parlargliene. Also with the gerund form, the past participle form, and the imperative. Another example. Mostrandoglielo. Mostrandolo a lui or mostrandoglielo. This is parlato e gliene. Now this is a typo. This should read parlargliene. Parlargliene. Okay? And the last one, lasciagliela. It's pronounced lasciagliela. Oh goodness, I'm forgetting my native language now. So this is a type, I'm sorry. Parlargliene. And lasciagliela. Okay? So you combine them this way. The next pronouns that I would like to explain are the pronouns she and the pronouns ne. Now, starting with ne. Ne is used in place of di questo or di questa or di questi or di queste, which means in English of this or of it or of them. You can use it for un po' di, a little bit of, some of it. You can use it for alcuni or alcune, any. Or you can use it for di ciò, about this. Let me give you an example. 3 examples. Ne sono fiero. I am proud of it. Okay? So as you can see, who is proud of it? Proud of what? I'm proud of it. Sono, I, sono, fiero, ne. Ne because it refers to it, to whatever that is. Okay? Sono fiero about something, of something. Ne prendo 3. Prendo means I take, okay? I'll take or I take. And remember that in Italian, you're not required to, like in English, to write or speak the pronoun I. So you can say prendo 3. Ne prendo 3. And that means io prendo 3, take 3 of something. Ne prendo 3. For example, you can say there are potato chips. Okay, there are lots of bags of potato chips. And you can say ne prendo 3. And that would mean, hey, I'm going to take 3 of those. The last example is ne vorrei un paio. And this is you use this when you want to say something like, I would like a pear, or I would like 3 apples, or I would like whatever you would like. Okay? Ne vorrei un paio. I would like a pair. Or ne vorrei un po'. Would you like some water? Yes. The answer is ne vorrei un bicchiere. I would like a glass of it. So essentially, ne is used. The equivalent in English would be when you write or say a sentence where you're talking about something, a certain part of it that you want. When in English, typically, there's a sentence that ends with of it or of them. A part or a number of them or it or something. The next is ci, which is used in place of la or li. La in meaning there, in that place, or qui or qua, which is here. La and li is there. Qui, qua is here. Or a previously mentioned place. Examples. Ci puoi contare, or puoi contarci, okay? Which means you can count on it. Ci puoi contare. So you can count on ci, which means you can count on it. Ci andiamo sempre. In this case, it means we andiamo. We, sempre means always. Always what? Ci andiamo, we always go in that place. Ci andiamo sempre. For example, I say to you, I often go to Italy. And you say to me, oh, so do I. I always go there too. Okay? And in Italian you would say, io vado sempre in Italia. And the other person responds, oh, ci andiamo sempre Or, well, the other person would say, ci vado sempre. Ci vado sempre. Or if it's more than one person, they would say, ci andiamo sempre. And the ci replaces the that place that was previously mentioned. Okay, thank you for tuning in. This is the end of this lecture. There's going to be a part 2 of this lecture with more pronouns, so stay tuned and thank you.